What if I told you that one of the wealthiest and most influential families in Europe played a secret role in empowering Adolf Hitler's rise to power? What if their legacy isn't just history, but an ongoing force shaping today's global financial systems? The Wallenberg family, a name synonymous with power, wealth, and influence across Europe, is not just a symbol of global success. Beneath the shiny exterior lies a darker past, one that intertwines with some of the most horrific chapters of the 20th century. The Wallenbergs have often been lauded for their philanthropic endeavors and their contribution to Swedish industry. But what most don't know is the extent of their involvement in Nazi Germany's war machine, funding, aiding, and even fostering relationships with some of the most notorious figures of the Nazi regime. In this video, we'll unearth the hidden truths about the Wallenberg family's relationship with Adolf Hitler, their role in financing Nazi operations, and how, despite the passage of time, their legacy still casts a long shadow over Europe's political and economic landscape. This is not the history you've been told, and it is not a story of just the past. This is a tale that extends into the present, where the Wallenbergs' influence continues to shape the global stage. For decades, the Wallenberg family has been cloaked in a veil of respectability. But the deeper you dig, the more unsettling their history becomes. Their involvement with Nazi Germany raises a crucial question. How much did they really know? And to what extent were they complicit in the atrocities of the war? Today, the family's connections and influence continue to reverberate through the highest echelons of power. But the real challenge isn't just about uncovering the past. It's about understanding how these hidden ties still impact Europe's modern financial and political systems. The story of the Wallenberg family begins in the 19th century, with their rise to prominence in Sweden. The family's patriarch, Marcus Wallenberg, was a savvy businessman who managed to build vast financial empires through banking, industrial investments, and international trade. As his descendants took the reins of the family business, they expanded their reach across Europe, forging ties with powerful industries and political elites. What began as a banking family in Stockholm eventually blossomed into one of Europe's wealthiest and most influential dynasties, spanning multiple continents and industries. Their business interests were diversified, ranging from telecommunications to arms manufacturing. But what makes their story truly extraordinary and disturbing is the way they leveraged their connections during some of history's darkest moments. By the 1930s, the Wallenbergs had grown powerful enough to exert influence far beyond Sweden's borders. Their most notable financial interests, including control over the Swedish banking giant SEB, made them indispensable to European financial markets. But it wasn't just wealth that gave them their power. It was the strategic alliances they cultivated, including those with powerful industrialists in Nazi Germany. This is where the family's story takes a chilling turn. During the rise of Adolf Hitler and the Nazis, the Wallenberg family found themselves in a position to assist Hitler's war effort. While many companies around the world were distancing themselves from the growing Nazi threat, the Wallenbergs saw an opportunity to further their business interests. They supplied critical materials to Nazi-controlled industries, and through their banking networks they provided the necessary financing that kept Nazi Germany's economy afloat during the war years. One of the most startling revelations about the Wallenberg family's involvement with the Nazis is their connection to the Swedish industrial conglomerate SKF, which supplied ball bearings to the Nazi war machine. These ball bearings were essential for the production of tanks, aircraft, and military vehicles. The Wallenbergs, through their control of Swedish industries, ensured that these vital components reached Germany, even as the war raged on. These industrial ties were not merely passive investments, they were active partnerships where the Wallenberg family's interests aligned with the Nazi regime's ambitions. But their involvement wasn't just about providing industrial resources. There were also financial transactions that flowed through the Wallenberg-controlled banks, which helped fund the Nazi war effort. Through a network of shell companies and offshore accounts, the Wallenbergs were able to funnel money into the coffers of the Nazi regime without attracting much attention. This financial support allowed the Nazis to continue their operations, enabling the regime to expand its influence across Europe, leading to the deaths of millions of innocent civilians. Perhaps most disturbing of all is the fact that the Wallenbergs were not passive bystanders in these events. They were deeply embedded in the Nazi regime's machinery. At the height of their influence, they had direct dealings with some of Hitler's closest allies, including Hermann Göring, who was responsible for overseeing much of the Nazi economic policies. It is said that they provided financial backing to key players within the Nazi regime in exchange for continued access to lucrative business opportunities. The Wallenbergs' financial dealings in Nazi Germany were not just about making a profit, they were about securing power, positioning themselves as an indispensable part of Europe's war economy. The Wallenberg family's role in Nazi Germany went beyond economic dealings. Their connections extended into the darker corridors of collaboration. As the war progressed, the Wallenbergs provided vital support to the Nazi regime's internal operations, enabling Hitler's war machine to continue functioning. It's important to note that Sweden, despite its neutral stance during the war, had close business ties with Nazi Germany. Swedish industries, in which the Wallenbergs had significant stakes, were crucial to the Nazi war effort. The Wallenbergs were not simply corporate partners, they were active players in ensuring that Nazi Germany was well equipped for war. Their relationship with the Nazi regime was not limited to business transactions. The Wallenbergs maintained a direct line to Nazi leadership through the financial channels they controlled. As a major banking family, the Wallenbergs were part of a network that allowed the Nazis to secure financing for their operations. This network extended far beyond Sweden, linking the Wallenbergs with international financiers and businessmen who were eager to profit from Nazi-controlled industries. Their ability to operate in this clandestine manner speaks to the level of power and influence they held. They were not simply passive bystanders in the Nazi regime, they were key enablers of its success. However, despite their significant role in aiding the Nazi regime, the Wallenberg family managed to escape scrutiny after the war ended. Their wealth and influence, combined with their position in Swedish society, ensured that their dark past was conveniently buried. While many other industrialists and financiers who had worked with the Nazis faced consequences, the Wallenbergs managed to maintain their standing in European society. Their ability to maintain a public image as philanthropists and benefactors while hiding their involvement in Nazi operations allowed them to thrive in the post-war economic boom. They quietly resumed their business dealings with the global elite, including key players in the United States and Western Europe. The aftermath of World War II left many companies and individuals with tarnished reputations, but the Wallenberg family remained a respected name in both Sweden and the broader European financial community. Their role in aiding the Nazi regime was effectively erased from history, allowing them to maintain a facade of legitimacy. This ability to avoid accountability for their actions during the war speaks to the power of wealth and influence. The Wallenbergs were able to reshape their image as pillars of Swedish society, using their philanthropic efforts to shield themselves from the public's scrutiny. But their past never disappeared entirely. The connections they forged with Nazi officials were not severed with the end of the war. Over the decades, the Wallenbergs used their wealth and influence to secure strategic positions within international financial institutions, multinational corporations, and political organizations. Their financial holdings were vast and interconnected, and their influence reached deep into the heart of Europe's political machinery. One of the most significant revelations in recent years is how the Wallenberg family's legacy continues to shape the financial and political systems of Europe today. Their influence is felt in major European banks, multinational corporations, and international organizations, many of which were built upon the financial foundations laid during their dealings with Nazi Germany. Even after the war, the Wallenbergs continued to exert power behind the scenes, securing profitable investments in key industries such as telecommunications, banking, and energy. Today, the Wallenberg family is still one of the wealthiest and most powerful families in Europe, with their business interests spanning the globe. Through their holdings in institutions like Investor AB and SEB, the Wallenbergs maintain a commanding influence over the Swedish economy. But their wealth isn't limited to Sweden. The family's interests extend across Europe, with investments in companies that dominate industries like energy, pharmaceuticals, and defense. Their influence isn't just economic. The Wallenbergs have maintained strong political ties throughout Europe, with close relationships to leaders in Sweden, the European Union, and beyond. These connections have enabled them to shape policies, influence economic decisions, and even dictate the course of international relations. It's through these political and financial channels that the Wallenbergs continue to exert power, often behind the scenes, shaping the future of Europe's financial systems and political landscape. In fact, the Wallenbergs' involvement in shaping European policies is so entrenched that it has been described as a hidden network of power, one that operates outside the public eye. Through their investments in key sectors and their alliances with politicians and industrialists, the Wallenbergs continue to control vast swathes of the European economy, all while maintaining a carefully cultivated image as philanthropic benefactors. Yet, despite their ongoing influence, the Wallenberg family's true role in shaping global financial and political systems remains largely obscured. Their involvement in the Nazi regime, which helped fund the war and sustain the Nazi war machine, has been swept under the rug. But as we continue to uncover the hidden connections and shadowy dealings that allowed the Wallenbergs to maintain their grip on power, it becomes clear that their influence is not just historical. It is alive and well today. The Wallenberg family's story is not just about money, power, and influence. It's about the unchecked power of dynastic wealth and the long-lasting effects of historical alliances. The true extent of their collaboration with the Nazi regime is a testament to how powerful families can escape accountability, maintaining their position at the top of the economic and political ladder, even when they should have been exposed for their role in one of history's darkest chapters. Their continued presence at the pinnacle of global finance and politics reveals a disturbing truth. The past is not as far removed as we think. The Wallenbergs may have been able to wash their hands of the atrocities of World War II, but the system they helped build remains in place, shaping today's world in ways that are impossible to ignore. The Wallenberg family's story isn't just about historical connections to Nazi Germany. It's about the enduring power of wealth, influence, and hidden networks that persist through the ages. The truth about their role in World War II has remained buried for decades, but as we peel back the layers, we see how their actions then continue to affect us now. From financing the Nazis to shaping the modern financial system, the Wallenberg family's legacy remains a silent but powerful force in Europe, and it's a force we cannot ignore. If you want to understand more about how powerful families like the Wallenbergs shape the world today, subscribe and keep exploring these hidden histories with us.